What's going on, guys? It's Denzel, aka Images by Zell, and today I'm going to be showing you how to do camera motion in Davinci Resolve 18. So what you would do is, in your inspector panel, it's underneath of transform and cropping. You would come over here to the little switch for dynamic zoom, click it on. When you do that, it automatically does a zoom motion by default. It has a default motion that it does, but it does it over the entire clip. So if you wanted it to only do it in one section, like I did with the adjustment clip, you could actually do your dynamic zoom on your adjustment clip too. So that's little things I like. That's why I like to use the adjustment clips in that way, because it's easier to set where you want the stop point to be. So you can, it is doing this animation. It's just very slow because it basically is spread out over the entire clip. You can come over here at the bottom of your viewer here, and you'll see this box. This is like highlights, that's the transform. But if you hit the drop down arrow, you'll see all the different options you have. Come to dynamic zoom, and you can see what I'm gonna do is swap, because the green is like the start point, red is like the end point. So what it's doing right now is zooming out, which is cool, but I want to do a zoom in. So back over here under the inspector panel, dynamic zoom, you hit swap. Once you hit swap, now you can watch it's easier to, I zoomed in so you can see that. You can see it pushing in, it's very slow, but let's say I wanted to go faster than that. I could push in more dramatically, and then we'll zoom back out. Wait a minute, what am I doing? So you can see that it's sped up some. It's still such a large area for it to cover that it's going to take it a long time to get there. Now, if you wanted to just steadily zoom in the whole time, it could do that, and you can set it, and it's like it's going to do the entire clip. It's going to go and go and go and go and zoom in on what it is you want it to hit, which is totally cool if that's what you want, but you don't really have a whole lot of control there. So what you would have to do would be to do an edit point on your clip like that, and all of what I just did is still programmed. So it's going to do that same as that motion I set, but it's going to do it a lot faster because it has a less time to travel. So you can see it's doing the same thing I had before, but now it's moving way faster. And then this might not matter, because if you're doing like a project that has multiple cuts, let's say you're going to put this here. Now you covered it up, so it doesn't matter if you see it or not. But see how fast that went. So that is an option. And if you don't want it to do all that, you can obviously reframe how this works. I can slow it down. So basically it's like the less distance it has to travel, you can kind of see like I'm pushing it. I wanted to zoom in that much, or I don't want it to zoom in that much, so I'm bringing it closer to, I'm bringing my end point closer to my start point. So, you know, just kind of how you can view it, so it's not too complicated. And now it's going to push in slow, but it's like it's doing it because it doesn't have as much time to travel. You can do that way. Let's just say I just don't want, I can just go ahead and reset I can reset all that. And then take the dynamic zoom off. And I'm going to turn that off and turn that off there. Because like I said, when you pull that dynamic zoom in, it automatically does its animation. So let's just say I wanted to do, I'm going to keep that one and grab another adjustment clip. I'm going to change the color on this, so that way we don't get confused as to which adjustment clip is which. And then we'll just make this one a different color too for the fun of it. We'll just make it pink. Alright, so now this one, let's say I want to do the same thing, but I'm going to do the dynamic zoom on the adjustment clip instead of the video. Again, you don't have to do this. It really depends on your situation and what you're doing, but it might help you out. Seriously, depends on what you're doing. It's just an idea, because basically I can grab this and copy it throughout the clip if I wanted the same type of motion for the same amount of, because I can control the timing by how long the clip is. So I'll show you what I mean. I'm gonna swap. And this is like its full animation endpoint. This is its default endpoint. And let me do this so it doesn't get too confusing. So So as you can see, it's pushing in, it's going, and we're going, and it's gonna keep pushing. Well, let it do its thing. And that was that. But let's say you wanted it to go, let's say you like that, but you want it to do that faster. I could do this. And it's still pushing in, it's just going a little bit faster. Get there even faster. See? So that's kind of how, like, if you do this, you're controlling the speed at which it gets to where you want it to get to. There's probably better ways of doing that. I wouldn't necessarily suggest it this way, but you could do that. You could totally do that. And now you don't have to really think about it. You have the default, but you're like, I like that, but I want to have a little bit more control, and I want it to zoom in further. So basically, however long you want the zoom to last, that's how long I would zoom. That's how long I would drag the adjustment clip out for. But let's say you're like, no, I want it to zoom in faster and closer, but it needs to be this long. Then I would go in, I just zoom in a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. And let's just say you wanted to push into a close up on his face. And then, let's see if that did it. Hold on, let me reset, go back to fit. Let's see if that. All right, let me just push that in a little bit more. I can kind of do the same thing I did before. It's weird how this works, but let's push it a little bit more. Let's see if that, oh, I went too much. Pull it back down, let's see. Okay, I think that'll do it. Okay. So I wanted it to last on that whole thing, and then you see like it's also pushing in and going up because we're framing in for his face. Again, do whatever this is not a right or wrong. You can do it however you want to do it. And let's say you're like, nah, I want to really, really, really get in there. So I could kind of like reframe that even more, and I kind of saw where I was at, so I just play with it. Let's see where we're at now. But nah, I still want it. But now you're like, okay, now I'm over too much because I overcompensated it for a little bit too much. You just kind of slide it back over, come back out, slide it back and forth there, go back in. Make sure that fits. Go up a little bit more, get his head in there. And you just kind of finesse it and play with it. So I will say that it's easier to have more control over what the zoom is doing with. So if you wanted to do the zoom how I'm doing, you can totally do it this way. But this might be a situation where it could be better to use the first method I showed you because it's a little easier to have more control. But here's the motion now. We're playing it through, and this is what it's doing. And I like how the camera, how it does it, because it does feel like it's a camera move. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them down below in the comment section. Leave a like if you liked the video, and be sure to subscribe for even more tips and tricks like this. Until next time, peace.